Welcome to this tutorial series of building RESTful web services using Spring Boot and MongoDB. I am Balasubramanian. Till this time we looked into how do we insert documents into MongoDB using Spring Data Repository. We also used find methods in Spring Data Repository, find all, find by name, which is available by default in Spring MongoDB repositories. And we also customize the queries. We wrote custom queries and passed those queries and use Spring Data Repository to query it. So this week, let us see what is the agenda of this week. This week we will look into find any strings in arrays, which includes finding one value, finding more than one values which exactly matches. We also will look into finding an integer in an array. We'll also filter for null values. There are a lot of times we will have to filter values which are nulls, so that we will look into. The next important thing we will look into this week is building query DSLs. There is a query DSLs provide a beautiful way to fetch the data from MongoDB. We will look into it, and we will also look into how query DSL improves the code readability, maintainability, and how it helps us to get away with string-based queries. How also it improves the testability of the code. All these factors, let us look into it. With the agenda being set, let us directly jump to the tutorial. Okay. The very first thing that we are going to look into is we have changed our model. Let us revisit our contact model. So till this time we had date of birth and verified. Today, since we are going to look into array based filtering, I have added a field called known languages. For example, a person might know more than one languages, so we have come up with what are the languages the person knows, and other things, other array field which I have added. They're not that appropriate, but yes, I thought it would be really helpful is the body attributes, which is the height of the person or weight of the person. So one is to do integer based querying, the other is to do string based querying. These are the two parameters that I have added. Similar is the changes which went into the DTO side as well. So as we change the model, we will also change the DTO, because DTOs are exposed to outside world. As we look into the projection operation, we will come up with this shorter DTOs, but as of now, think that we only have a DTO which is similar to the direct data model that we have. Okay, let us directly go into the repository here. Contact query repository. This is what the first thing we are going to look into is let us find all the person who is knowing a particular language. So the known languages is an array. We are going to give only one language and find that person who knows that language. Find the list of person who knows that language. So the query goes like this. It is the art query. We are saying that what are the known languages and pass that parameter, which is the value. This will work for only one values, not for more than one value. We cannot search a list of languages using this query, but let us look at the simplest query. So as usual, let's go to the service class. We have interface which returns a contact DTO, which is the similar signature as known language, taking the parameter of known language. In the service implementation, let us look into it. So it returns a list. So the repository returns a list of contact. If the contact is null or the contact size is 0, we are returning null. Otherwise, we are streaming it and transforming it to a contact DTO and returning it. Let's directly go into the controller layer of it. Contact query controller is the one which we are using. So we have an endpoint which is mapped to contacts known language, and it takes in only one path parameter, which is known language, and it returns an application JSON as a response body. So what are we doing here? We declare a list of contact details. It may be null because there may be a language which nobody knows in our database. Contact query service, we are calling the service, and the service is auto-wired here, and we are saying that find by known language. We are calling that method, and if it is null, we are saying not found, and if it is found, we are returning the list of details. It is the same thing that we used to follow all the time, but I am just walking you through the code so that the touch is always there. So let us directly go to the testing tool. I have run this. Let us also revisit how many methods that we have come up with. Okay, let's find by known language. So our application is running on localhost 1890. Is the contact service version 1, query, contacts, known language. We are searching for known language like NSKRIT, and I'm sending it. There's nothing. Let us look at it. Send, not found. Let me see if the application is running. Okay, I understood the issue. If we go here, since I have changed the model, I do not have db.mtcts dot find dot. There are no documents, that's why we are not able to find. Let me insert all the values. I have prepared more than we already had 5 documents. Now I have added 2 more documents. Bear with me. Let me post all the documents immediately. Post, taking it, paste, send. First value inserted, second value with the name Krishna as the first name, send, posted. Third document, paste, send. 4 more, fourth document, paste, send. Fifth, send. Sixth, send. Sorry for this, but I like to start with an empty slate because it would really be helpful every week at what we are doing. Now we have all the documents inserted. Let us go to the MongoDB and verify. Okay, we have dot. Let us see the count. We have 7 values inserted, 7 documents are present. Let us go to our testing tool. Find by known languages. Known language. We'll say RIT. It will match only. Okay, so we have one person who knows Sanskrit as the language. Let us look into other values. TANIL. Let me send it. So this document person has Tamil, who knows Tamil. Second person knows Tamil. The third person knows Tamil. And we will see Hindi. This person knows Hindi. This person knows Hindi. Let us check Marathi next time. It seems to be a different value. Everybody's result. So, okay, all the documents has, you note it down, Hindi is present. So Marathi only one. Let us see if that also comes. Yes. So if we see, we are able to find a document with a particular value. Let us look into the second query. Go to the repository, contact repository. If we note it, we have a document. We have documents. If we will revisit the document structure, that would be very nice to revisit. The known languages is an array which contains more than one values. It can contain as many values as we want, but right now it contains more than one values for all the documents. So the first query will work only for one value. We need to give get me all the documents which exactly matches these two. For example, I am giving Tamil and Hindi. It will go and search for documents which are matching only these two values. So for that, what we need to do is we have to write query like this: known languages where all matches the first criteria and the second criteria. I repeat, known language is the attribute and it is an array, so we have to do all what are those values which it is matching, which is the parameter 1, parameter 2. The lang1 and lang2 will get substituted over here. Service layer will also call the same method as is by passing it. Let us directly go to the controller layer where we have something to learn here. So known languages. So this is the end value. Says that context / known language. Get me all the person who knows these languages. If we note it down, we have something called request param, which is called query string. Till this time, what we have seen is we have seen almost all the find methods using path variables or path params, which will be mentioned in the curly braces, and the same path param will match the variable value. But here, this is the first time we are using query string. What is query string? Query string is, you can have, if we want to give multiple values to the same attribute, we use query string. For example, question mark known languages equal to language 1, language 2, language 3. For example, if id equal to this, you can give one value, or if you need to give multiple values, you can give multiple values. So this is the first time we are using query string, and how we have to declare is, this is the request parameter, and we have to say that this is the name. It is optional, but it is good to say the parameter name is known languages. If it is more than one, names are important, but if it is only one, it is not mandatory. So as of now, we are saying known languages. So since this is a list, and I know that I am going to get the first and the second one, I'm just passing it. In production scenarios, you don't use like get of 0 or get of 1 based on indexes. That's not suggested. But for the sake of this tutorial and to complete it, I just used it. What we need to do is pass it, get in the values, and then pass one by one based on the iterable, and build that query string, build that values as well. That way it would be really helpful. And here also we can check if the first value and the second value is present, then only accept it, otherwise throw a bad request error. These are things that we can do in enterprise software development. I would suggest you do it, but later also you can do. So let me do that so that it looks little better as well. If known languages equal to null, what we can say is return new response entity of HTTP status dot add request. So this is one thing. Again, if known languages dot size less than 2, then return new response entity of HTTP status dot add request. Okay. Next, if known languages dot size greater than 2, then also say return response entity, and return new response entity HTTP status dot get request. So we can do an AND condition better for understanding purpose. I've included if it is less than 2 also it is bad request, get cannot 2. Let's combine this 2 and then run it. So now I'm running this. Let us see. I'll go to my testing board. Let us go to known languages. If you see this URL known languages, and I'm saying known languages equal to Malayalam and Telugu. So these are the two languages which we are going to filter. Let us see if there is a document which exists. Okay, so there is a person who knows Malayalam and Telugu. So let us check Malayalam and Hindi, it comes or not. Okay, then also it comes. So this is the person who knows Malayalam and Hindi. Let us check Hindi and Sanskrit. Okay, there is a person who knows Sanskrit and Hindi. Let us check English and Hindi. Okay, we have more than one person who knows English and Hindi matching, Hindi and English matching, English and Hindi matching. So there are three documents which the three contacts who knows more than one languages, which is English and Hindi. If we see the result, carefully notice the result. The order of elements are not important. First it comes in the second. Here it comes first. English may come first, Hindi may come second, Hindi may come first, English may come second. It doesn't matter. It is just saying, it is just checking whether the document contains this value or not. That is here the point that we need to note it down. And as I clearly told, since I have enabled debugging in terms of development environment, we can see all the queries. Just take this query here. If we want to check the result of it, I am repeating this for the sake of continuity. db.contacts.find, paste it, put the bracket, you will be able to see the three pretty. So that count, so it is easy. Let us verify whether the result is okay. Oh, Malayalam and Hindi. So we have noticed Malayalam and Hindi. That is the only one document which is present. We just checked English and Hindi, which contains three documents. We have three documents. So this is easy for debuggable purposes, but in production, just disable this because we might be leaking sensitive information. For example, email ID, which is personally identifiable information. So it is very useful feature in the the time of development. So let us look into the fourth parameter, fourth filter condition. Again, go to the contact query repository. We are going to search by height. Height is also an array. So why I'm again and again showing the same thing? Don't think about that. So we are looking into the height, which is an integer. Last time what we looked as a string array. Now we are looking at an integer array. That is it. So rest all things are same. Body attributes is a array where we are looking at whether the get all the elements who or get all the contacts whose height is greater than that X amount that we are passing. So first we have checked the string, now we are checking the integer. Similarly, we can check any other values as well. So just to make sure that we cover most of the data types that we look into. That is the intention of this code. Okay, let us directly go to the test and it is height. It is saved as find by height. So get all the people whose height is greater than 180, or let us put 160. Send. So we have everybody. If you see the height, it is 180 greater than 160, 170 greater than 160, and 180. This is the height, and this is the height. So we have four looks like. Let us verify it in the database. So it is easy to verify because we have this, and let's go to the database. db.contacts.find, paste this, put a bracket dot count. It is easy to get onto the count. Just okay, sorry, it is db, it is my mistake, db. So we have 5. Let us check we have 5 documents here or not. I think this is the first document, this is the second document, this is the third document, this is the fourth document, this is the fifth document. So we are able to match the result set that we have got to the database filter query. So we have looked into all the documents whose height is greater than nx number, which is an array as well. Let us look into the last thing. Check all the find all the documents whose secondary mobile is null. So almost we have some documents who has some documents in some context who has the given the secondary mobile who has a secondary mobile number. There are some contexts who doesn't have it. So we just need to check what are give me those persons whose secondary contact is null. How it will be useful. This will help us to filter out all the nullable values and take immediate action. For example, if somebody has to give mandatory KYC for account opening, let me know whose KYC is not verified, whose KYC documents are null. They have not provided the supporting documents, so we can easily check with this kind of queries. So these are very useful in real time. So get all the nullable values. So what we are saying, phone dot secondary mobile. Why are we putting phone is a sub document? I could have searched for anything which is at the top level, but it is good to check at the sub document level, because if it is going to work in the sub document level, it is the same thing. Which will work at the top level. So I just wanted to search in the sub document. Control method, it is one and the same, but just I will have the completion. We will look into it. This is the one which takes the secondary number as the path parameter. It is not a query string, it is a secondary number, the path parameter. It calls the service layer calls a repository layer and gives the result back. So let us directly jump into the find by secondary number. Okay, this is very important. What am I doing is how can we pass null values in path variable? It is not easy. So if we have parameters like this, we will not be able to pass a space, which is nothing, right? So it gets trimmed, so you will not be able to get the value. So if we at any point of time, if we need to pass any spaces or which contains empty string, we have to use the percentage 0 to percentage 03, which is a empty string. This is an empty string. So what I am doing, I am passing a empty string. Whenever it is an empty, I am transforming in the controller layer as null and passing the null value to the service layer, and it fetches. So this thing you might want to notice, which is a subtle thing, but it is not readily available, and you might not be able to pass any empty strings in the URL. So let us look into whether we are able to get the result or not. So we have, okay, let us directly, we have some documents of secondary number is null. Secondary is null here also. Secondary mobile is null here. Secondary mobile is null here. So yes, we have all the places where secondary mobile is null. Let us see the account by just going through the query as usual. See, we are passing null exactly. Secondary mobile, phone dot secondary mobile is null. Again db dot contacts dot find, paste this dot count. I think this should show count. We have 4. I think this should show 4 only. Let us see. 1, 2, 3 and 4 exactly matches. So we are able to fetch those documents which are null, and this is the space. If you want to see it, let me stop this debug and show, because this is important thing which you can learn from this tutorial. Okay, let it hit the breakpoint. Secondary mobile number and have breakpoint. And I will also pass a very empty space and see what is the result. It will not even find it. Let it take some time. Okay, it is running. Yes, it started, and yeah, we can hit it. So instead of this, control X. So I'm passing this. So it will not even hit, because there is no because it is expecting a secondary number as path parameter, and the space whatever we are giving, it is not able to trace the root, because there is no such root which ends with only this. If you are not looking, I will look like this also. It is not found. Now you are getting it right. Why this is very important. I am sending this here. Secondary number is coming as blank with a empty space. So you have to trim this. What am I doing here? I am trimming that, and then if it is blank, and after the trim, if it is blank, I am passing it null, and that's what I did. I am stopping this. There is an important thing which you might need to notice in this tutorial.